take you back to Polokwane now, where my colleague Pulele Treaty Jones is standing by, covering the events today ahead of that January 8th statement that's coming out. Pule, no doubt a lot of excitement as ANC members gather ahead of the statement, a celebration of 110 years of being in motion as the party, the ruling party actually, but no doubt also a moment of introspection because of all the challenges that the ANC has faced over the years.
Yes, indeed, Rufira. This will also pave the way for some of, the challenges that while the party has encountered, now they have time where they can't redeem themselves, particularly because they've got quite important events that are coming up, which is also the policy conference and, of course, their national elective conference. But joining me now is the Minister of Tourism, Lindiwe Sisulu. Thank you for joining us on ENCA. Now, if you could just tell us, this January 8th statement, the significance of it, what does it mean for many?
You mean the January 8th statement or
yes,
the celebration?
The January 8th statement.
Okay, fine. You know, the ANC was inaugurated in January 8th, so every year we celebrate the birth of the ANC because it's such a significant milestone for us. And so before we celebrate it, we come together as the NEC and put together a statement that we would like to put out to the world to indicate where we are in relation to the responsibilities of the ANC. We're able to admit the failures that where we have had failures, and we're also able to chart the way forward. It's almost like a commitment. We've come to make a commitment through the President of what the ANC is going to do in the coming year, and we will also be going over some of the things that we have not quite been able to achieve. It's been a very difficult year for us with COVID, and it's been difficult not only in terms of the lives that we have lost and the opportunities that we have lost. It's also been very difficult just generally coping with the lockdown, and we're very glad that finally the lockdown was lifted. And I'm hoping also that at January 8th we're going to celebrate the life of Archbishop Tutu. He was a very necessary critic of all the things that we did wrong. And we've lost a real a man of honesty, a man of integrity. And we may not have liked what he said from time to time, but when you look at it, you actually can see that he was driven by wanting us to do good.
And, while that's the case, what is the party aiming to do in terms of self-correction and redeeming its integrity, particularly because now we're also seeing the first part of the Zondo Commission reports that is being released, and of course your sentiments around the judiciary as well, and the arrest of a former president. Just give us your sense of inspection around that.
Okay, it will be very difficult for me to capture in the time we have the whole idea of the Zondo Commission. The Zondo Commission was taken through the necessary processes by the previous public protector because there were investigations that had to be done. But it then took on a life of its own. I was one of the people who was asked by the ANC to help the ANC craft a statement. So I was quite integral to crafting the ANC statement in response to some of the issues that are there. It will need a much longer time for me to convey what it is that we were trying to convey. But of course there were glitches. There will always be glitches in any system. And we did experience glitches within the process of the Zondo Commission. It did take a longer time. It did take more money than we had expected. And it has now been released. We are now engaged with looking at what it is that the Zondo Commission has recommended. I am not sure what the next step will be for us as we go through every bit of the recommendations, because in any system when there is a commission and it comes out with findings, there ought to be a space in which is given to those people who have been found to have been wrong to respond. There's an audi outram patram rule that applies across the board. But unfortunately, I was not at the last NEC meeting. I was held up in Dubai because we have an expo there, and this was tourism month. So by the time I came back, most of the statements that were put together to respond to the Zondo Commission. I was not part of it. But going forward, we will all be part of unpacking this and getting to the truth of what it is that we need to do to change the perception of people around ourselves.
Minister, maybe just sense of clarity here. Would you say there has been an unfair treatment towards the former president as to how the judiciary and the Judicial Commission has turned its way to handling everything?
Well, I am a very empathetic person. And I did think that there is a way in which somebody of his age ought to have been treated. We didn't do that, and I was part of the intelligence community. We didn't do that to P.W. Botha because we understood he was old. Even though we knew that he was the author of most of the problems that we inherited, but when we went to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, we gave him that leeway not to attend because we knew he was old. And somehow at the back of my mind, I had thought that is the same way that we would do this, that there would be some way of understanding that Zuma at that particular time was not well, and there would have been a way in which we can still continue with the commission without dragging him to the courts. He was obviously, there were times when he obviously was just not well. And I don't know if we were able to get from him his own views, if we're able to get to the bottom of what we wanted to at the stage at which he was.
Right.
But then we've accepted the Zondo Commission and we're looking into that. Anything more would be actually preemptive of what their finding is, and it would be wrong.
Sisulu, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Here we go. I know you have to wrap, Rufia, but back to you in studio so you can head back to everything.